Well, welcome everybody. We are so glad that you are joining us today or tonight, whenever you're listening. This is a podcast to talk about our production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And before we get started, I want everyone to introduce themselves. My name is Amy Christie, and I am the pastor of community life at Grace Church, but I have the pleasure of directing this show. So if we want to go around and everybody just introduce themselves and tell what role you're playing with the show. Lori, go ahead. But
Unmute.
there we
There we
go.
go. Hi, I am Lori Seiler, and I am the choreographer.
I am Jen McBurney, and I'm the assistant choreographer.
Yay.
I'm Dave Fackler, and I am the music director, or one of the music directors, and conducting the orchestra.
Isaiah.
Hi, I'm Isaiah Owens. I'm playing the role of Joseph.
Yay.
I'm John Owens. I play the role of Jacob.
And I'm Ryan Mickens, and I'm designing the set and doing a bunch of tech stuff.
Yeah. Everything else Ryan's doing. Thanks for being here today. I really appreciate you guys taking time to talk and let people know kind of the behind the scenes of what we do to mount a show at Grace. This is, I think, probably our somewhere in our 25th, 26th production that we've done, full scale production that we've done at Grace over the years. And many people are shocked that this is our first time doing Joseph. It kind of makes sense that a church would do a show based on a biblical story. But to be honest, I just haven't felt confident that we could pull this show off for many years, mainly because it needs such a strong male presence in this show. So many of the main characters are guys, and particularly the brothers. It's a really tight group of guys that are able to dance and sing really well. And so I wasn't confident that we could do that. And last year when we ended Music Man, the people as the show was closing, everyone that was asking me about what the next show was going to be were young men in like their late teens, early 20s, late 20s, early 30s. They were all like, "What are we doing next? What are we doing next?" And all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, well, we're doing Joseph," because these are the people that are the most interested in what we're doing next. And so we decided it's time for us to do this show. And the audition process was insane because I think we could have cast the brothers several different ways. With we had several people that we weren't able to cast as a brother because there was such a strong turnout of guys for our auditions. And so I'm just super excited that we're able to do this show now. And I'm looking forward to just what God does in the process, and then what he does with the actual production. But already I feel like it's so good. It's so good. And the guys in particular are really incredibly good. So you can tell I'm excited about doing this show. It's also a short show, everybody. Let me just tell you that. When I say you're going to be in and out under 2 hours, I am not lying. You're actually going to be in and out under 2 hours. And that's a good show, especially for people that are not like theater people. They are so happy to be out, before 2 hours or before 2 hours. So you guys tell me. I'm going to start, I think this time I'm going to start with Dave, and then we'll go from there. Tell me what is making you the most excited about doing this specific show, and unmute yourself.
Okay,
Yeah.
there I am. This particular show is just so much fun. There's so many different styles of music in it. There's a country song, and there's Elvis, and there's kind of more traditional Broadway-ish things, and it just a lot of different musical styles, and it's a lot of fun to put that kind of stuff together. And just the story is such a great story of reconciliation and redemption. I've always loved the story, so yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. And what I do love that about the different styles of music. It's and it really follows the biblical story to the T. Like it really
Yeah.
does. So
Leaves out
that's
a few
also
details, but
yeah,
they're
it
just
does leave
details.
out a few details for sure. Okay, who wants to go next?
I can go.
Yes, Lori.
Uh, so Joseph was my very first musical that I ever directed or ever choreographed. So it is one of those that for me has been kind of just I was starting to cut my teeth, I guess, if you want to say
Yeah.
that, right? Looking back, I don't even think there's a video exists, and that's probably a good thing because if I had to look back, I would probably cringe. But it started kind of my love of choreographing musical theater.
Yeah.
And part of it is, like Dave said, it's the different genres. I mean, when we did Music Man last year, right, it's very themed and all the dancing is somewhat of that time
Yeah.
period. And, there's a theme that runs through all of that from a choreography standpoint. This is just a free for all.
Mhm.
So it is fun to really be able to kind of uh, take that snippet of that genre, take that style of choreography, and then kind of put it in, the time period, the Canaan days, and how do I do that? Or how do I, kind of put a little Egyptian flair to it or things like that. So it is really kind of fun that you get to kind of think of them and kind of widen your brain a bit
Yeah.
from a choreography perspective. But this show for me is just fun. That's
Yeah,
all it
it
is.
is.
It's just fun. It's fun.
Okay, spoiler alert, I'm always going to follow Lori because when we
Yeah.
partner dance, she leads and I follow. So
That's
it's just kind
perfect.
of default. I love that. I would echo that because where else can you do a tango and a 50s style dance and a
Yeah.
hoedown all in the same musical and on the same stage during the same time? So love the flavors that we get to have fun with the different dance styles. And my other little addition is my mom grew up my mom always loved this show. So I grew up listening to the cassette tapes as a wee little babe.
Oh, I
And
love
all the
that.
kids would pick our favorite of the musical. So it's just super nostalgic, brings up lots of good memories of family car trips for me.
I love that. Yay. John.
I'll go next. Yeah, I think so. My freshman year of college, my high school music director, show choir director, Mick Bridgewater, and his wife Judy, they were starting to do some different productions, and they did it's basically like a showcase of a lot of the biblically themed musicals that are out there. And one of the featured ones was Joseph. And so they picked about 3 or 4 songs from that. And I got to play Joseph in that, got my own coat of many colors.
Mm.
But I never got to do the full show. And so the excitement over actually getting to do all of
Yeah.
the great numbers that are part of it. We didn't get to do any of the Pharaoh stuff before Potiphar, which is just absolutely hilarious. And so that was, of course, exciting for me. And then, of course, I know we're going to talk about this later, but there's just the element of getting to do that with my kids, with my crew. This Joseph kid is pretty talented, who I'm a fan of, and so as well, me having done it when I was 18 years old, him getting to do it when he's 17 is just extra special.
Yeah. Love it. Isaiah, you want to go next?
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say dad was actually my introduction to Joseph. I knew he did the showcase and he had me sing Close Every Door for one of my audition songs. So I was kind of introduced to the music very early on. But yeah, I love getting to do it with the brothers, with my family. But yeah, I just love the style of this show. Like I love that it's like the storybook style and the show within a show, and also like the wonkiest opera you'll ever see. It's like
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love it gives so much room and space to just have fun and show off everybody's acting talent and performance abilities, and just a blast to watch everybody do their different things and work together. So yeah.
Good. Ryan.
Yeah, so I'm kind of excited because for me it's kind of a new show.
Hmm.
I like spent some time in theater, but like never got to do this show. And so like looking at it, I also thought like, oh, this is going to be like an easy show, but like it's also turned out to be a little challenging. And so like I've had to like bend my brain a little bit, which for me is kind of like one of those things that like I love about a show. And it's like easy for some of the other shows to think, oh, like how did they do that? Whereas Joseph, it looked a little bit more straightforward, but there's a few things in there that gotta work to figure out. So I'm excited to get into that.
And this is the first time, Ryan, for you that you're taking on the role of set designer at Grace.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. So
that's been fun to kind of brainstorm ideas. Um, one of my kind of just quickly our vision for this show is that we're taking people to Sunday school. And the narrators, which we have three of in our show, which is there's really only called for one, but there's so much narration that dividing it between three is not a problem. We have our three Sunday school teachers that are going to take us and our kids chorus to Sunday school. So that's kind of been my vision for the show, and we'll talk a little bit more about like how that vision has played a part in all the planning of the show, and particularly for Ryan, kind of how that played into the set design. But first, Dave, I want to ask you about. You have always conducted our orchestras since we did. I think Les Mis was the first time, right, in 2014, or did you
I,
do?
I played keys in Les Mis,
Oh,
and
okay, and
sort of
conducted
was
the first one,
yeah, I was sort of assistant conductor for Les Mis, and then
and
I've
then
done five. I conducted five shows, or
Beauty and
this
the
is my
Beast was the
fifth.
first. But
Yeah,
this is the first time that you are helping out with musical direction, like giving the cast,
right.
coaching them through the music.
Mhm.
What have you enjoyed about that?
I just love being able to spend more time with the cast.
Yeah,
They're just so much fun, and um, I get to have my finger in all the little pies,
yeah,
of how they're singing this, or making sure they're knowing their parts for that or whatever. And it's just really fun being with the cast more than I was when I was just doing the orchestra.
yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So Lori, what has been you and Jen, you're kind of dividing and conquering in this show because we've got a kids chorus of 23 and an adult chorus of around 50 when everybody's on stage. What has been your approach as you've been because you've done Joseph how many times before? Like
One.
this is okay, so this is number two.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But I
what have
think,
you enjoyed?
my versus first time, which probably, I don't even know, I need to go back and look, maybe 15, not even 15 years ago, maybe 12, somewhere around there years ago. So that's just a whole different, I was just a baby getting tossed into having no idea what in the world I was doing. This time around, obviously, I think people always think that this is what I do, for a living.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're a dance teacher, but I am a right and left brain. And I think that when people really, Jen was my assistant choreographer last year, and she really helped with just kind of teaching and got kind of helped a little bit with like creative choreography. But this year, I've pulled her in to the, behind the curtain. And I think that uh, together, we've kind of done a lot of creativeness and dancing in my living room. And she's kind of seen how my brain works in that sense of very linear, very logical, very like how do I see and plan. So I have a tendency to uh, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? I kind of chart all the music so I know exactly how many eight counts because dancers do in eights, not fours. So I deal in eights. I see Dave smiling. So I know what I'm working at. I kind of break it off so I know an idea of what I want, and then we just kind of start chomping it down. And I write things very notation wise as a dance teacher. So I have everything written down, charted out. I see it from 30,000 feet. Then, Jen has started to be in that creative process of that. And then it allows me to say, okay, here's kids choreography, and she can go teach them. The beauty of this show is that you have them kind of in that, Sunday school style. So they're included, but they're also part of the story. And sometimes because of their location, they're dancing, but they're not in the midst of the storytelling dance piece. So we have the ability to teach them separately, then bring them in, and the adults get to see what they've been doing, and the kids get to see what the adults have been doing, and then it all comes together. And I think it's a beautiful thing. So that has been actually really great when you're dealing with 75 people trying to teach them, and from 7 to maybe our oldest is mid 60s.
Yeah.
That's a lot of range, and a lot of from people who are very accomplished dancers to people who are still learning how to step touch,
Yeah.
and 7-year-old attention span to, a mid 60s attention span. So it definitely, we're just trying to break it up, teach them in ways that they can remember, and then bring them together to kind of see if it all works out. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my process. And I think it's been going well to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Jen, so just quickly to tag on to that, you've taken the kids with you. You're doing all of the teaching with them. And I've watched several rehearsals and they really connect to you. So talk to me a little bit about that's a tough task. You've got 23 kids that you've got to wrangle and keep their attention and get them to learn these steps. And we're from age probably 8 all the way up to like 12 is probably our oldest, and every age in between. So what has your approach been with them?
Yeah, I love that question because adults seem to know theater etiquette and they have expectations of like the shared objective, roles, when to listen and be respectful and
Well, sometimes,
focus
let's just be
most of the
sometimes.
time.
Yeah, yeah. Just kidding.
Where
Everybody's great.
yeah, where exactly the attention span, which is way shorter for those kiddos, they're still learning a lot of that theater etiquette. And some, this is their first experience with the arts in this way. And so it was Labor Day weekend and I was driving home. I had like a 7-hour trip in the car and I was like, what am I gonna do with 23 kids? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. And I got this, I think like a Holy Spirit drop of time. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be the time lady and this is gonna be our theme and I'm gonna make it as cheesy as possible, but these kids are gonna glom onto time and I'm actually gonna secretly be structuring their time and getting them focused time behind the scenes, but still make it fun. So my approach with the rehearsal time with those kids is to block our time, our rehearsal time into different sections. And we start with circle time. And
mhm.
again, it's like cheesy, but I say, okay, guys, circle up. And that is our time to stretch and connect and get some of the chatter out because I'm finding that as they're opening up, they're feeling, I hope and pray, seen and known and valued and appreciated and like it's a safe place. And we get to be a little silly too in that time. And then we go to dance time and break time. They can earn couch time, which if you have been to Grace before, it's the big blob couch. They can
Yeah,
go chat for about 5 minutes and get some water, potty breaks and come back. And then I call it crunch time. So I had them help me with the titles of what they identified with the most. And for like go focus time at the end, that like final hour stretch, I suggested that they loved crunch time. And so we're big into chants. So when it's time to really focus them in, I'll say, what time is it? And they'll say, crunch
yeah,
time. So that has helped focus them in. And what's cute is my really star students will turn around and go and say, guys, it's crunch time. Come on. We got to go. Let's
yeah,
do this. So it's been a learning process, but I've seen them grow so much already. And I'm just loving the experience. It's challenging, but it's rewarding, and I'm proud of them. They call me Mama Jen because my
mhm.
little mom heart is just going to explode. They're doing such a great time.
Yeah.
They're such a good.
Yeah, they love you, and
Yeah.
they are definitely learning, really well from you, and that's been awesome to watch. I love watching them when it's crunch time. They're hysterical.
Yes.
John, just talk a little bit about you've already alluded to the fact that your real life son is playing your son in the show at Joseph, Isaiah, who's on here. Talk a little bit about, and not only that, but your other children are also in the show. So talk about what that means to you.
I mean, it just means the world. I mean, of course, it's cool because not only is my real life son Joseph, but it's also Benjamin,
Mhm.
as Aaron is playing Benjamin. So I got both of Rachel's kids. Kelly,
Yeah.
my wife, is unofficially playing the role of Rachel,
Yeah.
um, who would have already been dead by now. But anyway, we're not going to go there. But anyway, it's just been so special. That's been probably the highlight. As much as I love the productions and the Grace theater community has been fantastic, the highlight has always been getting to do it with my family. I grew up doing musicals, creative arts director for a long, long time. But it's like doing theater with them. he gave me something that you just don't get from going and cheering your kid on when they're playing basketball or t-ball or football, is that we get to do it together.
Mhm.
And getting to see especially Isaiah's progression and development as an actor through the years. His first production at Grace was in the kids chorus in Mary Poppins. And I remember seeing him in the green room when some kids were on their, gaming devices, just locked in watching that monitor and making sure he had his lines and whatever his choreography. And I could tell, I was like, man, I think he really likes this. And so to just see that progression, and then now see Ella, my youngest daughter, who is my youngest kid, who's 8. This is her first production, and just see her be locked into the choreography. I mean, when Jen is saying something, when Lori's saying something, she's like, she's gonna make sure that she's got that hip action right. And it's just super fun. The rides to rehearsal, the late nights going home from rehearsal together has just been some of the most special times. So I'm absolutely thankful that we get to do this. And uh, some of those emotions, I was saying, this is Isaiah's last. This will be his last Grace production before he goes to college. And so those final scenes
Yeah,
when Jacob comes to Egypt will just have just a little extra specialness to it as we close the show.
for sure. Ryan, I'm going to circle back to you, and I don't want to run out of time because we have a time limit on our podcast. Tell me a little bit about how you've been in by my direction of the show. How has that spoken into the design of the set, and how have you enjoyed that process?
Yeah, so like you were, you wanted it to be have that Sunday school feel. And Sunday school for me was a little different. It was like me, my brother, and like one other kid. So like we we had to like kind of use our like it was like some like old woman like reading from like the King James version with like a flannel graph.
Yeah,
And so you kind of have to use your imagination a little bit. And so like building the set, like designing the set was kind of took me back to that. Like you start off and like I wanted it to be um kind of like through like the color schemes like really bright, like kind of like like that kid like imagining stuff, but like it's also still kind of um relevant, accurate. And so like you start off and like like the opening song, like I close my eyes and like all of a sudden now you're here in like Canaan, which is kind of like this barren place. So there's a lot of simplicity there, but then like I kind of also then imagine myself being Joseph, like being taken to like one of the greatest civilizations in the world at its peak at the time. And so like I wanted there to be this reveal that kind of like showed like, oh, like this is something that's big, which kind of turned out to be a challenge because believe it or not, we actually have limited space. Um, so it was one of those things of like, how can I make this set kind of be accurate and true, like not something that's like some people would be like, oh, this is like super kiddish and camp, but also kind of like feel like a beautiful part of like someone's imagination and
hmm,
feel like it is something that like a kid, like if they were sitting in Sunday school, like this is what they would imagine like Joseph was going through at this time. And like with the songs and the dancing and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I took it from.
yeah, I love it. I love it. And Isaiah, just talk to us a little bit about the excitement of playing the lead role, and what's exciting, what's maybe a little bit scary.
Yeah. It's all the things. It's super fun to get to be able to portray a character from the Bible. Like that alone is just really cool. But I think really, I mean, Dad hinted on it a bit, but this really has been a crazy journey for me. And like Mary Poppins, I remember it wasn't just my first Grace show, like it was my first show ever.
Yeah.
And it's really been like ever since that day, I remember like being in my room and being like man, this is what I want to do, and this is what I feel like God is calling me to walk through. And like ever since that, like wanting to get better and better, wanting to get my family to come and do more shows with me, and slowly adding a sibling each show. And just being able to do that. And also, one thing that it was for me, especially when I was younger, just watching other people do shows, is I was always drawn to like people like the younger male guys who reminded me of myself. When I saw them, I was like, it just caught my eye. I was like, that's so cool. Like it made me think like I could do that. And it's one thing that I'm really trying to do myself, especially it's cool with Joseph because it's a Sunday school vibe, like we said, and like I am singing it to a bunch of kids, but like I want to be kind of that just that inviting person for all of the kids out there who like I might like just wild to think that some of those kids might come and see the show and see me and just from that be invited into this whole new world of theater and it's a lot of pressure but it's also like I feel like I've been preparing for this step by step and it's a really fun experience especially like we've talked about getting to do it with my dad and my siblings and actually being able to play like biological family.
Yeah.
It's all super cool. And especially like um, all the music is fun to learn. I love all the aspects of it, the dancing, the songs, and I'm always jealous of the brothers and
Yeah.
stuff for getting to do all the different. I was like,
I know.
Lori, give me something to do, give me a dance.
It's hard to be the
It's
star, Isaiah. It's hard to be the star.
I know. But yeah, it's been a blast, and I just love the process too. Like I'm excited. Every rehearsal I go to, I'm like, man, like it's cool to just see the full picture come together. And yeah, it's been a really fun experience, and I'm excited to portray this role and do this show. So yeah.
Well, you, along with many other young people that have done shows at Grace, it's like been such a joy to be part of your journey. And it will be a joy for us to watch you grow and continue to do more stuff. And we got to be a piece of that. And that's really an honor for us. I speak for everybody on this call and all and many others. It's been an honor to be a part of that. And we're just excited to watch you continue to grow as an artist and as a person, and you are such a great role model for the kids that are looking up to you. It's awesome.
Thank you.
um so real quickly before we end this, just tell me real quick, a few of you, like 10 seconds or less, what do you hope the audience takes away from this show? What do you hope they, I know we want to spread joy and uplift them, but what do you hope they take away? You're gonna have to be quicker. Yeah,
I
John.
hope they experience just a great story of redemption and restoration.
Yeah.
You know, the whole story of the family is really about brokenness and being restored, and I think that it's something we need.
Yep, absolutely. Anyone else?
Well, in addition to that, I think they go out singing the songs.
Absolutely. And
These
dancing a
songs,
little bit.
the songs are so much fun. And yeah, I just hope that it just sticks in their mind as
Yeah.
over the next few weeks or whatever.
Oh, it will. I wake up, you wake up singing it. I'm dreaming it.
I think for me, that is as hard as it is for us as a directing team to get, because we're in the midst of it and pondering through every little detail. I know when I come to rehearsal, I walk out feeling so much better,
Yeah.
regardless of what my day was. And so that's what I want for people to walk out of the doors of Grace feeling joy and happy and just listening to that story. And regardless of where they are spiritually, to walk away and just have that kind of, just seep into their soul a bit. So yeah, that's what I want.
I want fun, excellence, and leaving them wanting more. More Jesus, more everything.
I love it.
Yeah, I agree with everything everybody said. I want it to touch their hearts. I want it to feel real to them, especially when it comes to a bunch of Sunday school stories. It's easy to think of all of these characters almost like gods, like they're these characters. They seem like they do everything right and everything perfect.
Yeah.
But it's like they're humans, and God is the hero of their story. And I want people to get that and get that message and feel encouraged walking out of the show.
That's good. That's really awesome.
I was gonna say I want them to smile as big as we do, like when like we see all of this coming together, like the process, like just seeing like popping in rehearsal and seeing everyone like dancing, smiling, working with the team, building the set. Like it's just a joyous experience. Like
Yeah.
everyone's just so happy, and I want the people seeing it to feel that too.
Well, one other thing that has been really fun for me has been working with those guys, the brothers. They're having so much fun together, even from day one. They've just bonded, as a group. And to listen to all 11 of them singing together it's like, holy mackerel. They don't even need microphones. It's just a beautiful thing. And it's been so much fun watching those guys bond and having so much fun in rehearsals. And it's been a really fun part of it.
We have a fantastic cast.
We do.
I mean, we just do. If you miss this show, you're going to really, really kick yourself on November 18th when we're all done and it's all over. And I do have to say, the brothers are still nice to you, aren't they? Off stage, the brothers are very nice to Joseph.
I mean, they did poison me with the Hot Ones challenge, but
Oh, I heard. Yeah, I heard you had a fun night the other night with Hot Ones. I do want to say this too, just really quickly, because this is on my heart. We at Grace, one of our things that we talk about a lot is that the process, which all of these beautiful people that are here with me today is important to us as the product. How we get there is really important to us, and we want it to be something that is fulfilling and wonderful for the people that are part of our crew and our orchestra and our cast. And I'm reminded daily as we journey together on this Joseph journey that theater and the arts, it's a lifesaver for people. And people that can't find connection or feel safe in other places feel safe with artists and feel safe in that sphere. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that world and be a part of this world at Grace with you all. Like, it's another level, I believe, of safety and security and love and hope and joy that we're able to give to each other in the space that we do things in. So I'm just so grateful to all of you that you're part of that with me. And that's another reason that you out there should come see the show, because you get a piece of that when you come and watch what we put together. I truly believe that. Thank you for being with me today. I love you all. And for those of you that want to get tickets, they go on sale October 6th. And the show is November 8th through the 9th and November 15th through the 17th. And we cannot wait for you to see our production. It's awesome. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining us. See y'all soon. See you at the show.